When you practice jazz guitar, then the most fun part of practicing is probably to take something new and work on that and get that into your playing so that you can have fun with that when you're playing music. But very often the way that you approach this is actually stopping you from really getting it into your playing, and that's what I want to discuss in this video, because it's also something that you can fix quite easily. My name is Larsen, learn jazz, make music. A very common way to approach a new melody or a scale or an arpeggio that you want to use in your solo is to explore it and become familiar with how it is to play it around the neck. Let's say that, for instance, you want to work on using this Coltrane pattern. You're exploring different places that you can play these notes around the neck, and also what happens when you start to change the order or make inversions of the notes. And the problem with this is that you might drown yourself in technical exercises with lots of options and permutations, but you're not spending any time really working on making music, on learning how to hear good melodies, strong melodies with these notes. And you might demotivate yourself because you're not really getting it into your playing that way, and you're not seeing any result from all the practice that you're doing. If we return to the Coltrane pattern, then maybe it is useful to ask yourself if it could be more efficient to work on just playing it in one position instead of all the different places on the neck and all the inversions and permutations, and then try to figure out how it works to make melodies with it and how to use it when you're playing. Maybe there's really more to get from working and approaching it in that way. So just to demonstrate how that works, here's a solo on Lady Bird, just one chorus where I'm using the Coltrane pattern really a lot. In the solo, I'm of course using the Coltrane pattern a lot more than what is maybe the natural thing you would do if you're practicing this. But I really wanted to show you how many options you have, what is really available and what is possible with just these 4 notes if you start working more like this and really work more on making music with the stuff that you're practicing. The opening phrase of the solo is already using the Coltrane pattern, but instead of playing a straight descending version, I'm switching around the order of the last 2 notes. So we have... And then from there I move into more of a bob line. And then on the F minor 7 I'm using the Coltrane pattern again, but this time from A flat, because that fits really well on the F minor 7. Then on the B flat 7, so B flat 7 is a backdoor dominant, and that's sort of a Lydian dominant sound. And actually the C major Coltrane pattern is a part of that scale. So that's what I'm using for the first 4 notes. So again, it's really just using this placement of the 4 notes, adding the A flat and the F, and then resolving back to G and C major. Now the second phrase here on the C major 7 is first a G major Coltrane pattern, and then the C major Coltrane pattern once more, but now played with a triplet. And then on the B flat minor 7, I'm playing a descending version of the major Coltrane pattern, but just from the 3rd of the chord. So that's from D flat, and then I'm starting on the A flat here. So and then going through this phrase on the E flat 7 to A flat major 7. Now here I'm using the major Coltrane pattern one more time, but from the 5th. So similar to what I did on the C major, and that means I have this E flat major Coltrane pattern. I'm playing it as a sort of a triplet rhythm. It's almost like a group of 5 triplets. So, and then the last time ending on the G here, rounding that off, and then I can use the same kind of melody. So I'm kind of using motivic development here and repeating that on the A minor, but now from the C. So really just the C major Coltrane pattern one more time. And then D7 line, moving to D minor 7. And here I'm using the Coltrane pattern from the 3rd of that chord. And that's of course F, but I'm playing it as a descending triplet. And then G7 altered. So one of the places where you can use it on a G7 also would be to play the D flat major chord chain pattern, and that's what I'm playing after the F. So, and then just a scale run into the Ladybird turnaround. Again, the A flat chord chain pattern on the A flat major 7, and then resolving back to C major 7. With this approach, then I'm of course only just focusing on different places that I can use it in a song. I think it is really useful to just take the song and look at, okay, I've just practiced this, how do I fit it onto this song, where can I use it? You don't have to use it in as many places as I'm doing here. You just need to find a few places where you can use it and then try to get it into your playing in that way. I think it's a very natural way to get it inserted into your soloing and into your playing, where you're really connected with all the other things that you're playing so that you can use it when you're improvising. But of course, it can also be useful to just work with a single chord, or take the phrase and then just look at what you can do with it on a few different chords to get some ideas and to get something into your playing that you can use once you start taking it to a complete song. And one way of doing that would be to just look at what the notes are that are in there and then try and fit them and combine them with some other material. Of course, it's a C major chord chain pattern, so the most logical place to start would be a C major 7 chord. Here I'm just starting with the ascending version of the chord chain pattern, so, and then combining that with a C major 7 arpeggio, but first played as a triplet here, and then I'm actually going up to the A and moving up in half steps to the 7th. And then down the scale, skipping down to the 3rd to end the melody. Another obvious candidate is to use the major chord chain pattern from the 3rd of a minor chord. So in this case, that means that I'm using the C major chord chain pattern on an A minor 7 chord. That sounds like this. The first part of the line is really just a bebop line using a lot of chromaticism. I'm starting on the 3rd, then skipping down and adding a leading note to the 5th, back up to the 9th, and then here I'm encircling the root of the chord, the A, and then I'm encircling the C by playing first the B and then the D. And then here we get the chord chain pattern, and then ending on the 5th of the chord, the E. In the solo, I was also using the chord chain pattern on a B flat 7 Lydian dominant, so the backdoor dominant in C major. You can use it there as well. And of course, you can also think of this as being an E7 altered. So in this example, I'm using it like that. So first part of this is really just the upper part of a B flat 7, so that's a D diminished triad. Then we get a descending version of the chord chain pattern. And then really back to sort of a B flat 7 arpeggio idea, which is just the 7th and the root of the chord, and then adding this F minor 6 arpeggio, and then resolving to the B here. And you can hear this as being a backdoor dominant resolving back to the major 7 on C, but you can actually also hear it as being either an E7 altered or a B flat 7 tritone substitution resolving to A major. I think it's extremely important that we think about how we practice, what we are working on, and whether we're getting anything out of it, similar to what I'm talking about in this video. If you want to check out some more videos where I'm talking about how to practice jazz, the best ways of learning and the things you need to focus on, then check out this playlist where I'm going over a lot of different aspects of learning how to improvise jazz, learning jazz repertoire, and learning jazz vocabulary.